Some children have imaginary friends that their parents can't see. Sometimes those invisible friends aren't imaginary.
Welcome back to a Compendium of Monsters. It's Skulk Week. Before we continue, slash that subscribe button and hide in the shadows. You never know who is watching. Skulks are challenge level 1/2, and they're a great example why challenge level is sometimes deceptive. These medium humanoids have an armor class of 14, average hit points of 18, a speed of 30 feet, and dark vision out to 120 feet. Skulks understand common but can't speak. This is strange because they're often summoned to other planes and may not necessarily be summoned by a creature that can speak common. Perhaps they should also be able to understand one language spoken by a summoner? I wouldn't normally say anything, but it's a major part of the descriptive text block. Skulks are immune to radiant damage. Weird, but I suppose your paladins will have to do something other than use their spell slots as smite slots. Despite having no blind sight, skulks are immune to the blinded condition. This doesn't really make much sense, but luckily I'm not the one who f***ed that up. Skulks have the fallible invisibility ability, which is a mouthful and means skulks are invisible unless circumvented by something. There are 3 exceptions listed in the ability's descriptive text, but the wording is can be circumvented, not can only be circumvented. But let's talk about the ones listed. First, skulks can be seen on any reflective surface. Examples include a relatively clean metal shield, a mirror, or even still water. Second, skulks are immediately visible in the light from a candle created by rendering fat from a corpse whose identity is unknown. Now, from the wording, it seems clear to me that the corpse is intended to be a humanoid, perhaps one the skulk has killed. However, with the lack of specification, this candle can be made from the fat of any corpse the party happens upon. Hell, the party could go kill a random wild animal and take the fat off of its corpse. They don't know the identity of the animal they killed, so it technically fits the bill. Third, humanoid children can see the skulk without any special magic or abilities. Skulks are also trackless. Like the name implies, skulks leave no tracks. It's impossible to determine where a skulk has come from nor where it's going, so that option is out the window as far as trying to track its position during combat. For their only action, skulks have a single claw attack that deals an average of 6 slashing damage. Ordinarily, this would be decent damage for a challenge level 2 creature, but if skulks make their attack with advantage to hit their target, the target creature takes an additional average of 7 necrotic damage. When do skulks have advantage to attack rolls made against their target? So long as the skulk is invisible to their intended target, they have advantage. Suddenly, this seemingly easy encounter just got a lot rougher. Skulks are what amounts to the remains of travelers who have become lost in the Shadowfell for so long that their bodies become soulless shells.
They are so devoid of identity that they become permanently invisible.
Shout out to Buffy the Vampire Slayer!
Only children can see a skulk without the help of a mirror or special candle. On the rare occasions when a skulk is visible, it appears as a drab, featureless, hairless humanoid.
This is a weird reverse Uno situation where instead of an adult telling a child there's an invisible creature that will hurt them, there's a child telling the adult there's a weird man-looking head with long claws.
A skulk can be summoned from the Shadowfell by performing a ritual. If the creature is given a portion of the summoner's identity, the skulk is bound to obey the summoner's commands for 30 days. If a skulk is visible, an astute observer might deduce who summoned it, because a skulk assumes a vague likeness of its master.
This is a little silly, but is an excellent premise for a murder mystery one-shot. Who done it? It was the sketchy spellcaster all along. I am very curious as to what happens to the skulk after the 30 days are up. Does it merely return to the Shadowfell? Does it remain on the summoner's plane until it's killed? Does it try to kill its summoner?
A summoned skulk can't return to the Shadowfell until it dies.
Oh, okay. So at the end of 30 days, let's just assume the summoned skulk tries to kill its summoner because skulks are chaotic messes. It's interesting though, because skulks are one of the only instances of creatures aside from demons or devils that cannot be permanently slain outside of their home plane. Even angels are not reborn in Celestia after their deaths. I ignore this, but it's the rules as written.
After killing a person in the material world, a skulk sometimes takes up a silent imitation of that person's life. In extreme cases, skulks have invaded villages, killed all the occupants, and turned the places into seeming ghost towns, where flavorless food is prepared daily, colorless clothes are hung up to dry, and livestock is shifted from pen to pen until it starves.
I call a whole lot of bullshit in this creature's description because there are two major things at odds here. In case you didn't know, skulks are of chaotic neutral alignment, which suggests their lawless behavior is a roughly equal composition of good and evil acts. Murdering a whole village is straight chaotic, stupid edgelord bull. Then again,
Cruel and chaotic. Skulks carry out their orders in the most violent manner possible. A summoned skulk can't return to the Shadowfell until it dies, so it has every motivation to throw itself into creating bloodshed and mayhem.
pick a lane. Where are the non-violent good acts to balance this out? Oh wait, there aren't any. Chaotic neutral, my f***ing ass. I also find it weird that a skulk would ever take up a silent imitation of their victim's life. Per their descriptive text block, they have lost all sense of self. I know there are creatures in Dungeons & Dragons who have mockery of life as part of their behavior, but those creatures don't typically lose their entire sense of self. Or should we just ignore the fact that the skulk is charmed for 30 days by its murderous summoner and technically can't do anything but obey commands for 30 days? I find it interesting that, despite clearly signaling the village murder event occurs on the material plane, the end result of the skulk's takeover of a village is akin to existence in the Shadowfell. Flavorless food and stupidly killing livestock are not unreasonable, though hanging colorless clothing is only possible in the Shadowfell. Otherwise, even medieval peasant clothing had some color to it. Also, how do a village worth of skulks just take over a settlement on the material plane? A hamlet? Maybe. Hamlets are incredibly small settlements that consist of 30 to 50 people, whereas villages are typically made up of 500 to 2,500 people. A village overtaken by skulks would basically experience an invisible f***ing apocalypse. Skulks can one-shot commoners, so there would be corpses everywhere. Also, by the time the skulks get around to murdering more than 10 people in the same day, people will flee. Perhaps not everyone, but if I saw several people get struck down in broad daylight by an invisible force, I'd flee with what I could carry. It's just not worth it. Anyways, what do you think of skulks? Let me know in the comments below. A special thank you to my incredible patrons. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share my video on your Twitter, Facebook, or other social media, and make the leap to become one of my patrons on Patreon. I'll see you next time.